everything is brought in from outside for the most part. And then the garbage pickup is out here, and the sewage takes away the water and the sewage. All inputs and all outputs, and there's very little, anything much circulating here. And the property produces virtually nothing. We're going to put roof catchment on all the rooftops, and we'll actually make this a flat top garage. But you know, this will be a building. But we're going to put roof catchment, and at the ground slope, so we'll put south this way, sun sector, and we'll make the land slope slightly to the south, which will be a little more advantageous. So we're going to put some water tanks at the upper ends of the buildings to capture rainwater. When the rain does come, it fills up that tank, and then maybe you'll fill up that tank. And then from there, you run swales out along the contour here, so that when the tanks are full, the overflow goes into the swale, or a ditch on contour, so it becomes a seasonal pond. No,
West.
God,
Mine's west.
I must be at that. Okay, so a reasonably located house will have a southeast facing kitchen, so you get early sun in there. And on the south side, we can put a solar greenhouse that with good interaction with the house, so that we can use heat that we gather from inside the greenhouse to help heat the house. And so we're going to be able to grow food in there, and vegetables and seedlings for the garden. So this is the greenhouse. So we can make a structure on both sides of the house. It can just be a patio, or it could be raised decking, and you make it outdoor rooms on the side of the house. And it's a nice gesture would be to make an outdoor kitchen on this part of the deck with a roof and with a door. This room is going to be a lot sunnier on the west side, so it's going to be hotter, and so we might want to put on the trellis on this side, we might want to put grapes here, because grapes like that afternoon ripening time. So your different exposures will give you different heat degrees, amounts of heat accumulation during the growing season, so you actually adapt your plants depending on each side of the house. Well, let's make their whole yard one big giant sun trap, in a sense, in that we're going to plant our tallest, maybe some taller nut trees back here, and we're going to hypothesize that they're up against a hill or something, so that the neighbors aren't going to sue them for taking their solar access out. And when you're in a city and you're designing your system, you also have to design for all your neighbors. And it is not ethical to block your neighbor's solar access so that they can grow their vegetables too. A solar trap might end up looking something like that that's planted out. And here's your annual vegetable garden. Here are short shrubs. Your tallest plants are toward the rear, and then you have like medium shrubs, and then a shorter shrubs here and tall perennials, so that it's like an amphitheater. It's an amphitheater where every plant can have its face in the sun. Some of its crown can catch solar rays, because that's what produces fruit. So this, but you have this nice protected area in the middle here for your annual crop. The main access ways to the street, they can put beds of plucking vegetables, you know, where you just are clipping leaves from things for greens and salad gardens. So when you come in off the street, you pick vegetables on the way up to the house, and by the time you get there, you got your salad. And as Laura pointed out the other day, this would be a great place for your ever-bearing strawberry. One of the goals in a permaculture system is not only to produce food, it should look beautiful. A permaculture system, it should, you know, we're practical and it's just vegetables. Heck no. Permaculture is about beauty. It should look beauty, it should fill your soul, it should have flowers throughout as much of the year as possible. In this climate, you can have flowers in your yard 365. You know, there's always something that can be in bloom here. and fragrance is a really added benefit. Witch hazel is just a wonderful, right now we could have witch hazel probably blooming out there if we had them in the yard. Early blooming daphnes. We'll make this our zone 2 major garden here, where we're growing potatoes and Jerusalem artichokes and winter squash and parsnips and beets, and really serious food that's gonna has a lot of calories and can feed. A man does not live by greens alone. This actually could be a sun trap in this garden, in that the Jerusalem artichokes and the corn and the tall plants could be back here, and then we could have the beds that have tomatoes and things that are on bean trellis can be in here, and then in here is even the lower level things. And even within that you can have sun traps. You could do a whole series of keyhole beds in here. You stand here or here, and then you have the least path ratio to growing space ratio in your garden. The more pathways you have, the less growing area. However, we can partly get around that if we mulch all our pathways heavily. The crop roots actually go in there and can feed on the plant material that's breaking down within the path area. So you want your pathways to be really soft and accept water and nutrients. What we're doing here now is they're going to recycle every darn thing that they're going to use on their site. No organic matter leaves the site. It's all recycled on site for food production. And they're going to make a composting toilet not too far away. They can get one that they can either retrofit. What you do is you build your structural strength is all on the wall. So you build garden boxes all along the side here, and you put a lightweight soil mixture in there, and you grow shallow rooted plants, and you have drip irrigation system. Maybe you have water, and you might have to put a little solar pump in here to get the water, or you may have to carry it up in buckets or something. But anyway, figure out a way to water those, just watering can along the way. You can just do it with a water. Let's keep it simple. Watering cans, shallow beds, so you have to be around.
Structure allows you to use the levels to your advantage.
Oh, yeah.
So cucumbers, melons, squashes, that sort of thing.
Scarlet runner beans. So every wall becomes a growing surface. So because, as was pointed out in that other video, not only is your flat plane growing surface, the more verticalness you can get in there, the more that all adds up to growing space. So every wall and every roof can be a growing area. Herbs and tomatoes and starts. So I'm putting starts in seedlings through the sheet mulch. And on the edge of the sheet mulch, I planted hills of squash. And this hill, vining squash. And those squash started sending out vines, and I might have to redirect some this way. But they went out and covered all the area around the garden for quite a distance, so it made the garden look twice as big as it actually was. Because when you sheet mulch an area, depending on your type of weed growth, we had a lot of quackgrass. The quackgrass was reinvading the edges here. And so what I did the second year was I sheet mulched the whole area around it, and then planted the squash out here. And the second year, this area here was so well digested, I could actually shovel and turn and till and plant carrots and beets and all those little tiny seeds. So then I had a regular garden, but I never had to turn the soil until the second year. I never had to fight the weeds, so to speak. And so you can take a small beachhead, as it were, and sheet mulch and then expand it year by year, and use this squash technique on the side. So that worked really good for me.